Senior Transitioning Specialist Philip Vinson, who has worked in the space of senior living in this world for over a decade, has convinced himself of two things about aging. One, don't get older. And two, if you do, be rich. Now, I know that's a sobering statements there, but really it is said based primarily in his experience seeing the trends, the experiences families are facing as family members get older and as family members need services and need care. He's seeing some of the challenges that are there. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So what's up, folks? What's going on? Courtney Rollins, Life and Transitions Experts podcast host here, where we talk about, discuss topics related to those big, huge transitions in our life, particularly transitions such as perhaps you're dealing with the estate or the death of a loved one, and there's property and real estate that you need to deal with, and you're not sure how to deal with it there. Or perhaps you have a loved one that is transitioning and needs long-term care, but the house and the stuff in the house can present itself as a challenge. So that's particularly what we're going to talk about today. We're going to look at what to do when you or your loved one finds that they need long-term care, but they're not sure what to do with the house and the things and the stuff in the house. We're going to look at actually 5 things to consider. All right. So according to seniorliving.org, from now until 2030, 10,000 baby boomers will reach retirement age every day. So every day there's 10,000 more people reaching the retirement age, which is awesome. Now, aging, I know this society, we emphasize youth so much, but aging is a beautiful and natural part of the life cycle of existence. It's an amazing, beautiful thing. And with the way we have our society, or the Western world, or the United States specifically set up, we were anticipating so many people living longer, for longer, and so many more people being alive. The population has exploded over the last 100 and plus years. Awesome things still comes with challenges. So as people are getting older and living longer, that's putting a strain on some of the safety nets and things that we had in place, such as Medicare. Medicare was designed that once you reach a certain age, you're going to be able to start, pulling from your Social Security and your Medicare to be able to take care of certain things. But now we've been facing the possibility of there not being funds there for folks who've been putting in, done their end of the bargain, putting it in during all the working times and years and ages, and now they're at a certain age, they may not be able to receive that. So this isn't a political issue. This is just the reality of what we're dealing with. And along with that, the cost of in-home care, right now in North Carolina, the cost of in-home care is about $20 an hour. So depending on what the needs of your needs or the loved one's needs are, that may work or may be a huge challenge to you. And the average cost of an assisted living, again, this depends on, there's a lot of different types of assisted living and the services that we have, but the average cost of North Carolina, according to senior living at this time reporting, is $3,000 per month. So that's average. So we're really outpacing the income that we're receiving from our retirements, from those old pensions that used to be there, and it's putting a strain on our Medicare and Medicaid. It's no difference. Folks who don't have any type of resources are, we made a promise that we're going to pay, but the money has to come from somewhere, and it's a huge challenge. So a lot of family members are sometimes find themselves trying to figure out, how can we make sure mom and dad are taken care of? And quite often they will look at the house that the mom and dad were living in, as one of the only means, or one of the means to actually help find a solution for them needing long-term care. It's pretty serious out there. You may find, just like there's child protective services, adult protective services is a strong and growing and much needed service. So there may be situations where where someone finds that they all of a sudden within 48 hours need a place to put their mother or father, or they need a place to go because let's say, for instance, it's really happened to me now. My dad is going in for surgery next week, actually. And of course, we had to make sure we had durable power of attorney that allows us to make decisions for him even when he's incapacitated. But one of the challenges is that if he comes out of this surgery and let's say he's confused or unable to do some type of of daily activity in his life, the hospital folks can determine that he is not able to go home. He has to go to long-term care, and that they're going to check him out, but he's not going to be able to check out or go to his house until there's adequate resources or services for him provided because of the needs they see he has. They won't let him out, and so you may find this has happened to people many times where they find that their loved one goes into the hospital for a particular issue or something, and they find out they're not able to uh, to take their loved one home until they have adequate space available. So again, this is a growing issue, and it's an issue of that could be an issue of life and death. So let's take a look at some options for dealing with the house and this stuff. So number one, you might decide to just move in. Maybe you can adjust or make updates to the house so that it's can accommodate your parents, but you're able to provide more care and more companionship and reduce the cost of in-home care. Now, note there may be some health concerns that require certified training and require specific care. So you have to decide to either pick that up for yourself so that you can provide the care, or you have to delegate to those things that are outside the scope of your experience. Number two, you may decide to establish in-home care. And again, we discussed how expensive that can be, but that may be an option for you, particularly if the hours aren't too long, or maybe there's just some modifications that need to happen to the physical space as well as the actual, daily activities that are taking place to make sure that your loved one has care. Number three, you might decide to go ahead and list the property and use those funds to help pay for care. The average person nationwide, and I got this from Mom's House, shout out to Philip Vincent and those folks over there, the statistics, but the average person stays in assisted living for about 28 months. So if the property or the house that they owned is able to be liquidated or sold and use those funds to pay, then that may be an option for you. And you're quite often going to get the most money if you list it traditionally. Now, please note that this does mean that you might have to make some repairs, clear out the clutter, get it ready for the viewings and the showings, which is normal part of the traditional sale, which actually could be a challenge too, though, if you have a house that's been lived in for a long time by a senior loved one, and or even just the challenges of dealing with the clutter that's in there. So just please note that you have to take into account some of the cost of the transaction, including time. There's often a real estate commission along there, the closing cost, and of course the rehab cost. But it may be worth it if you have time, which sometimes is not the case because again, the longer our loved ones are going without the care they need, the more challenge it is on the more strain it is on their daily living and challenges it can be to their overall health. So the quicker mom or dad receives help, the better. And sometimes this option may not be as quick as we would all like. All right. And so number four, I really like because I love when people keep property. And so four is convert it to a rental to generate income. You may still move your family out or put them in, depending on how your properties or the house set up. Perhaps they move into a downsize or move into one section and you're renting out the other side, which can subsidize the cost for the in-home care or the long-term care if they have moved out. And it keeps the ownership of the property in your family, which is awesome. Now, you would be taking on the risk of being a landlord, but this actually might be a very viable option for you all as well. And then number five is sell for cash quickly. There's folks, professional home buyers like me at State Pro Service that can usually give you cash in your hand 2 to 3 weeks, within 2 to 3 weeks, sometimes a lot sooner than that, as opposed to the 3 to 6 month cycle that's connected to a traditional sale, which means your loved one gets their cash a lot sooner. Also, cash buyers often will take the property like we do as is, which means you get to walk in there and take whatever you and your mom and family members want or need. And we deal with all the other personal items that have accumulated over time. Now, the purchase price is quite often lower than a traditional sale because you're trading speed and convenience for a discounted price. However, like most cash buyers, we're not charging any closing costs. We pay all the closing costs and we don't charge a commission. So you do save in that way. And again, you're making sure mom and dad are getting that care as soon as possible. All right, so if you're trying to think of which ways or find ways to help deal with the house and the stuff, feel free to reach out to me at State Pro Service LLC, or there's free consultations. We can sit there and devise a strategy that's going to be best for you, whether that's working with my company or not. We want to make sure that you're taken care of. It really has become a mission for me as I've dug deeper into this world. And I'm so thankful for folks like Philip Vincent and Chad Corbett's and the Bill Grosses and the all folks, Bruce and Chuck from all the leads. Just so many great people out there that have turned their focus towards helping this population and people who are dealing with this population, navigate it in a hopefully humane and viable way. At any rate, would love that like and subscribe and all that good stuff. And feel free to reach out to me if you need any help or support, or if you want to be on the show. I look forward to I think we have Alicia Drew Halls coming up this Wednesday, but no telling when you're listening to this or watching this. But regardless, love for you to go back and hit a like, subscribe, and give us a comment. It really helps with the algorithms, like I said. This is Courtney Rollins, Rising Tides, It Lifts All Sails.